So in other words, the only growth that you see in the U.S. right now comes from invading countries, slaughtering people, and installing surveillance equipment. That's it. That's what America exports now. That's their growth industry. And they look at that, they say it's great. The people who are doing it, they can borrow money from Wall Street at virtually no money, no interest rates whatsoever, because they keep those artificially low interest rates for them. If you're a saver, if you work and you save money, like I'm a saver, I have only savings. I have no debt. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have a credit card. I don't have a car loan. I've never had any debt. But I'm being penalized because on my savings I get 1% at most. That's outrageous. And when the demand for credit is there, I should be getting 4 or 5%. So I'm subsidizing Goldman Sachs. I'm subsidizing J.P. Morgan. They're stealing money from me every single day. That's completely ridiculous. So why? What productive role are they playing in the society? None. They're just having like acid. They're just ripping it apart. And it's not even because, and they're not even having a lot of fun doing it. It's just because they're sadistic. It's like Caligula capitalism. They're just sick, sadistic.
No, that's it. They love blasting out the free market, destroying societies, bankrupting people. I read the Malthusian eugenicist views of all these elites. Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan publicly fund most of the eugenics groups, most of the zero growth groups. They're paying people to sell good cars. Then the car dealers just don't go down as much and actually rip you off. The studies show for cash for clunkers. Obama's idea to renew America is to, quote, bulldoze cities. USA Today, command destruction. This is what they want. And I wanted to ask you, Max, before we go to calls, Ecoscience, Holdren. And it turns out the guy he wrote the book with, Paul Ehrlich, was George Bush Sr.'s science advisor, openly wanting to drug the water, take all children at birth, train them, raise them in government dormitories. And now in England, 20,000 families to have cameras in the homes watching their children. They're saying they're going to take the children and raise them in dormitories, that the family is bad, that the state is actually, this is in the book, now they're doing it. Can you comment on these people?
It just makes you well up in tears inside, because you realize that this great experiment that was started in the 18th century is come to a shocking close, and very suddenly, because of a complete inability for those who are benefiting most from a democratic society to stand up for their democracy. So if you're a Caligula capitalist, if you're running a casino gulag state, and you've got no resistance whatsoever, then why blame them? They're just, rust never sleeps. Rust is rust. Without, these people are never going to stop. They don't have no logic. There's nothing behind them that makes any human sense. So they're not going to stop. And the people who are getting the most affected by this are refusing to stand up for themselves. So I don't see any change in the dynamic here whatsoever. I just don't see it. And it's really, I live in France because I can't even live in the United States. It makes me a little queasy inside to walk around and just, it's like being in a zombieville. Here in France, the people in France have a situation where the government fears them. The government fears the people. If the government says something or does something in France that the people don't like, they immediately are out in the street. They're protesting and demonstrating every single day. In the U.S., of course, it's the opposite. The people fear the government. And that's totally unacceptable. That's completely unacceptable. And you can't even be around it. It's sickening.
Well, absolutely. The media is always bashing France, and I think its taxes is too high, but the people actually have a form of socialism there. They're demanding it. I'm not for that system, but they're actually getting some of it, which is better than this. I mean, if you're going to have socialism, might as well get part of it. But the issue is, you might as well get some services.
Every day. That's the worst socialist system in the world.
But that's what I'm saying. This isn't even socialism.
Socialism. Wall Street is the most egregious socialistic parasite on the entire globe. That's socialism.
But, Max, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying they steal all our money and give it to elites. At least in France, they take the money and actually give it to some of the people. But what I'm saying is they try to plant GMO, they burn it down. They try to do something corrupt, the people riot. And so you're right about that. You were telling me during the break that you were in a French coffee shop or something and heard something interesting.
Oh, yeah, they were talking about Alex Jones. I couldn't believe it. A couple of French people were talking about Alex Jones, so I broke in with my limited French, and we had an interesting conversation. But I'm just
curious. I mean, what were they saying?
Well, Well, they were fascinated by really the film. The Obama Deception is being viewed here in France by people, and there, I guess, some people have some versions with subtitles out there or something, but they knew significant parts about it. And here, in Europe, Obama was very, very seductive, and he really won over the Europeans. And so this is something that has come up, and it's really a topic of discussion. That this whole reversal, the fact that his popularity has been dropping, and what does this mean? And we're in love with him, and how did we think about this? And then the Obama Deception film came up because it's how many views does it have on the net? Like 20 million views. So
yeah, it's more than that, but yeah, that's conservative. Well, the issue is it wasn't their love of Obama; it was their hatred of Bush. And I found that in my own life. I'll hate somebody so much that I end up being friends with that person's enemy, and that person turns out being just as bad. And I think that's what it is that Bush was so horrible, people associated all the tyranny with him, so went running to Obama, and he was just a pimp who then got us in the hotel room and punched us in the face and knocked our teeth out, and now we're crawling around on the ground bleeding, and he's going, yeah, bitch, you like it. And I think people are finally going, no, I don't like it. I'm leaving. So we're running out the door in our skirt, crying in the rain, and he's slapping us with a coat hanger, and I just think it's time for people to wake up.
People in France, contrary to popular belief, are really love America in a lot of ways. I mean, there's huge boulevards in the middle of Paris. Franklin Roosevelt Boulevard, JFK Boulevard, and the French are the ones that financed the American Revolution, and as a result, their own economy went into free fall. If it wasn't for France, there would be no America.
They want to like the United States. And so the Anglophiles have always hated that, so that's why they love to demonize France on our news, because they helped found America, and the British government hates that. Max Keiser, he knows what he's talking about.